Hi, crafty friends. This is Leah Lawson, and I am so happy to be back on the Scrapbook.com YouTube channel today. I have a fun set of Merry Christmas cards, easy for bulk creating, to share with you today. So, I am going to be featuring the Snow Days patterned paper pad, along with two really fun A2 card dies and some glitter cardstock. Now, last spring, I did a pastel rainbow version of these cards, and it was probably one of my most liked videos. And so I thought it would be really fun to do a holiday themed, because this could be used with any pattern paper that you have on hand. Now, I chose pinky tones, those are my favorites, and you'll notice in all of those papers, there are a couple of them where I actually cut out two, or I pulled out two of the patterns. That's because I have the A2 sized. Now, these are portrait, the designs are portrait, but I am going to be doing a landscape card. So, and there are some of the designs where they don't work. They'll be the wrong orientation if I cut them um, from top to bottom. So for those ones, we have to cut it twice if you're using the A2 sized. So this first cut I left in. It's a little bit of a Leah blooper reel for you because I didn't go in with a plan. I thought I did, but I hadn't thought it through very well about like where the die needed to be aligned and making sure I knew what side I had cut. In the end, it all works out, but you're going to see me here after I go to cut the second one. I start to fumble around and I'm not completely sure which side I need to cut on again. And in the end, it all works out. But I left it in. I could have cut it out. I could have just shown me cutting a whole other set of papers. But I wanted to leave it in just because, one, to show that even though people that craft all the time and I craft for a job, I sometimes still totally make mistakes. Actually, I make mistakes every day. And this is where I could not remember which side I had cut previously. I think in the end I made it work, but I second guessed myself. And then as I was trying to tap out all of the pieces from the die, the one piece that was in question, the one that I couldn't remember if I actually cut it, it ended up getting stuck. It ended up falling out of my sandwich and getting stuck on the back of the cutting plate. And so here I am trying to figure out where in the world it went. So basically, the lesson here is have a plan. I am going to show you a non blooper reel of this, or a non blooper version, and I found it. So there you go. It was stuck on the back of my cutting plate. So you will notice there is a little section in there that actually doesn't line up, and that's because I did cut that second piece of pattern paper incorrectly. But we are going to separate all of those pieces onto different cards, so that does not matter at all. So, learn from my little blooper reel there. Have a plan. Be a little bit more organized than I was for my first cut. And make sure you know which side you need to align. So, here is a better, more organized version when I had finally found my groove on this. So, I used some tape to you basically mark that left side. And for the first cut, I took that striped paper and aligned it to the left side of the die. Make sure that your stripe is facing the way that you want it to look on the landscape card. So after you do that, so you align that die to the left-hand side, and then you're going to bring it back. And once you remove all of the pieces, you're going to align the second sheet of paper to the right. Now, this all could be for naught if you just used the larger sized Snow Days patterned paper pad, which I believe is 6 by 8. This would be a no-brainer. I didn't have it though, so I am using what I have on hand and making it work. So now keep your die facing the same way that you had it. And now this time align that pattern paper to the right hand side. Once again, make sure the stripes are the way that you want them to uh, a stripe on the front of your card. I wanted the stripes to go up and down, not sideways. Okay, we have all of the pieces cut out. So now let's go ahead and um, group all of the different pieces together. I'm using those great little trays from Scrapbook.com. I use them all of the time for organizing stuff like this. So basically, I am just finding the correct piece. So basically, that there is one piece for each pattern per card. And I'm just going in order. So I start with the first piece, and then I just find the next piece in all of the corresponding pattern papers. And we are going to do this for all 5 cards. So the great thing about pardon me, that's the great thing about dies like this is these cards are so easy to bulk create. And the holidays are coming, we get busy. Sometimes it's really nice to be able to whip out a large batch of cards in no time. Without filming, these cards would probably take me less than an hour to create. So keep that in mind. And you just have to pick the number of patterns or colors based on the number of openings in the die. The one I featured today happens to have 5. Scrapbook.com has a few others that have 6 or 7, and just would want to choose accordingly. Next, we need to die cut the Merry Christmas A2 card die 5 times. I have chosen 3 panels of gold glitter and 2 panels of rose gold glitter. So they're just A2 size. I don't like to waste things, and they're pretty easy to align to the A2 die. So I just align them and tape them down into place so that when they run through my die cut machine, they don't shift or move, anything like that. So this die cut out beautifully. Now there are a lot of little inner pieces, those inner chads that you have to remove. So be gentle. This is pretty hefty glitter cardstock, but you can still rip it. So just be gentle as you're removing all of those inner pieces. And it does take a little bit of time to remove all of those. It's kind of a loopy, swoopy font. So you've got all of those little nooks and crannies in the letters that you have to pull these pieces out of. But in the end, the look is so worth it. And I just love the big, huge Merry Christmas sentiment that is going to be glittery and showcase across the entire card front. So I've gotten the bulk of those, and this is something to, before you toss any of those pieces, don't forget to get the little tittle for the eye in Christmas. So make sure you grab that before you toss or put any of those extra pieces in your glitter cardstock scrap bin. Now to get some of these smaller little chads out, I am using just a pokey tool to help get the last little bits out of this Merry Christmas A2 die. And I am just absolutely loving the glitter. Here's my thoughts on glitter and shimmer. If you can't add a bit of extra glitter and shimmer at Christmas time, then when can you? So now go ahead and die cut that Merry Christmas A2 die from all of the rest of those panels. Now take a look at the rose gold. It's a little bit more muted and a little bit more tone on tone with the pattern papers, but it is still so pretty. Now we are going to need 5 A2 card bases. I like top folding, but you can use whatever your preference is. I'm just using some nice sturdy white cardstock. It doesn't have to be anything special. And we need 5 of those to get going on our cards. So now it's just time to start assembling. I'm going to assemble one here on the video for you. I'll do the rest off camera, and then at the end you'll just get to see them all together. So we're just going to take it piece by piece, and I will pop up the glittery gold frame on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue all of these pieces down directly to the card front with liquid glue. Now, if you wanted to add dimension to some of these pieces, you sure can, or you can just leave them flat to the card base like I am doing here. Now, something to be of note, One, I do really like to use liquid glue for this because it gives you a little bit of time to wiggle it into place and make sure it's nice and lined up and where you want it to be. Something to keep in mind, though, is even if there's a little bit of white space left to either the left or the right on the card base or even the top and the bottom, that's okay because that glittery top layer is going to cover up any little mistakes we might have here and there. So don't worry if the gluing gets a little bit off here and there, or maybe the card base didn't get cut perfectly. That's okay. We're going to add that top layer, and no one will ever know that a little bit of white space was showing. Like you can even see on mine there's a little bit of white space to the right of that. Now I'm grabbing those trusty thin foam strips that I love from Scrapbook.com so much to add to the back of my A2 dies. Now I am doubling those up because the frame section is wide enough for two pieces, and I thought that would just make it a little bit sturdier. Now, if you haven't used those fantastic scissors from Scrapbook.com, they are fantastic. They cut like butter and they have that coating on them. So when you're cutting things like foam tape, they don't gummy up as easily. I would say all scissors can eventually, over time, get a little bit of adhesive on them, but they clean really easily. I use just like whatever I have on my desk. Sometimes it's isopropyl alcohol, sometimes it's stamp cleaner, sometimes it might just be water, and they clean up really well. All right, so we have the whole frame layered with foam adhesive, and then I am just adding a couple pieces here and there in the middle because I don't want the Merry Christmas words in the middle to sag. I mean, nobody wants a saggy card, right? I mean, nobody wants a saggy anything, but we definitely don't want a saggy card. I don't feel the need to add it everywhere, but just a few touch points across both words is perfect. And that makes it so it will pop up off of that patterned background and make it nice and visible. So once you have foam tape in all of the areas that you want them to be on the back of your A2 sentiment die, go ahead and remove all of the release paper from all of the thin foam strips on the back, especially the little bits in the middle. You definitely want those to adhere down. And then take just a moment to align it to the card as best you can. It's okay if it's not perfect. This is handmade, not Hallmark, right? But align it as best you can, and then you have this fantastic, glittery, shimmery Merry Christmas card that was super easy to create, and really, truly, you can create these in probably under an hour. Now, don't forget the tittle for the I in Christmas. I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue, and then I'm going to dot it into place. Now, if you wanted to try to get fancy with some foam tape on that, you certainly can, but I think that is a little bit too fussy for me, so I am just going to stick with liquid glue. And look at how beautiful that shine is. So here are all 5 cards finished. There are 3 gold and 2 rose gold, and I really love both. I love how the gold sparkle pops on the top ones, but I also really love that tone on tone of the rose gold. So here is where I would like to know. Let me know in the comments. Are you team gold or team rose gold? Give me a heart if you're team gold. Give me a thumbs up if you're team rose gold. All right. Well, those are my Merry Christmas, easy to create bulk cards for you today, featuring the Snow Days pattern paper and 2 really fantastic A2 size dies from Scrapbook.com. Now, if you're interested in purchasing anything that I have featured today, everything is linked in the video description below for your easy shopping pleasure. Well, that is all I have for you. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching these cards come together. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks for watching.
For the best experience, watch and shop our videos at Scrapbook.com/livestream.
Everything's in one place, the videos, products, and fun.
Sign up for our VIP text to get an alert so you can join us so you'll never miss a live.
Scrapbook.com/livestream, the best way to watch.